The first time Michael Carter heard the request, his breath froze somewhere between disbelief and fear, because no one expects their life to split in two over a single sentence spoken in a quiet glass office overlooking downtown Chicago. 1 year. A fake marriage. A secret that could cost everything. In that moment, the ordinary rhythm of his life cracked open, and something irreversible began. Before the story pulls you deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that change lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Michael was 32, dependable to a fault, the kind of man who ironed his shirts every Sunday night and paid his bills early. He worked as a senior financial analyst for a fast-rising real estate firm based in Illinois, and his boss, Sarah Whitman, was everything he was not. She was bold, brilliant, emotionally guarded, and carried herself like someone who had learned long ago that vulnerability was a luxury. She ran meetings with calm authority, signed million-dollar deals before lunch, and went home every night to an empty penthouse she rarely spoke about. The request did not come from nowhere. For months, Michael had sensed tension lurking behind Sarah's composed smile. Whispers floated around the office about a board of conservative investors from Texas, men who believed leadership should look a certain way and live a certain life. The company was preparing for a massive merger, one that could secure thousands of jobs and elevate Sarah to a national stage. But there was a problem she could not solve with spreadsheets or confidence alone. The investors trusted married leaders. Stability, they called it. Family values, they said. And Sarah, unmarried and intensely private, was suddenly seen as a risk. Michael did not agree immediately. He went home that night to his modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, sat on the edge of his bed, and stared at the cracked paint on the wall. His past had taught him to be careful. He had grown up in Ohio, the son of a factory worker and a church secretary, raised on faith, honesty, and the belief that pretending too long could make you forget who you were. Yet he also knew what losing the merger would mean for the company, for his co-workers, for Sarah, whose relentless drive hid a lifetime of disappointments. What finally pushed him to accept was not ambition or money. It was compassion. Michael remembered the look in Sarah's eyes when she spoke about the firm's future, about the people who trusted her. It was the look of someone carrying a burden alone for too long. So he agreed, with conditions rooted in respect, boundaries, and decency, even as his heart hammered with uncertainty. Their arrangement unfolded quietly. A small courthouse ceremony in Indiana, a simple ring, legal documents signed with steady hands. To the outside world, they were husband and wife. To each other, they were partners in a fragile lie. They moved into Sarah's penthouse, occupying separate rooms, navigating shared spaces with polite distance and careful silence. The city lights outside the windows watched as two strangers learned to coexist in a life neither had planned. At work, everything changed. Sarah softened, just enough for people to notice. Michael became visible in ways he never had before, invited to dinners, introduced as a stabilizing presence. The investors smiled more, nodded approvingly. The merger advanced. But behind closed doors, the emotional weight grew heavier. Pretending required constant vigilance. A misplaced gesture, a misunderstood glance, could unravel everything. Slowly, without intention, routines formed. Morning coffee shared at the kitchen counter. Late nights reviewing presentations together. Quiet prayers whispered separately before sleep. Michael began to see the woman beneath Sarah's polished exterior, the one shaped by a childhood in rural Georgia with a pastor father who preached love but practiced control, a marriage that ended before it truly began, and a career built as armor against disappointment. Sarah, in turn, saw Michael's steady kindness, his refusal to judge, his gentle humor that surfaced when she least expected it. The real challenge arrived when Sarah's mother, Rebecca Whitman, fell ill in North Carolina. Hospital rooms have a way of stripping away pretense, and grief does not respect contracts. Michael stood beside Sarah through long nights and quiet tears, offering presents instead of solutions. Nurses assumed they were real, and for the first time, Sarah did not correct them. In the sterile glow of fluorescent lights, something shifted. The lie became less about deception and more about survival. As months passed, the line between acting and living blurred. They attended church together on Sundays, not for show, but because it felt grounding. Michael reconnected with his faith, while Sarah found herself listening to sermons about grace with unexpected hunger. Friends noticed the change. Laughter came easier. Silences grew comfortable. Yet fear lingered, because both knew the agreement had an expiration date. The merger closed successfully. The company celebrated. Sarah was praised as a visionary leader. Michael was offered a promotion he never sought. But success brought clarity, and clarity brought questions neither could avoid. What would happen when the year ended? Who would they be without the story they had been telling the world? Tension resurfaced, not as conflict, but as distance. Sarah worked longer hours. Michael spent more time volunteering at a community shelter, helping families on the margins. Each tried to protect the other by stepping back, unaware that they were doing the opposite. The penthouse felt larger, colder, filled with unsaid truths. Everything came to a head during a winter storm that shut down the city. Power flickered. Streets emptied. In the quiet, with nowhere to run, the weight of the year settled between them. No dramatic declarations were needed. Only honesty. Only the courage to admit that what had begun as an act had become something sacred. They had learned each other's fears, shared each other's burdens, and grown in ways neither thought possible. Love did not arrive like lightning. It arrived like dawn, slow and undeniable. It arrived through patience, service, and the choice to stay when leaving would have been easier. When the year ended, there was no announcement, no public spectacle. Just two people choosing truth over fear. If this story has touched your heart so far, if it has reminded you that love can grow in unexpected places, please pause for a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement means more than you know. Michael and Sarah stood before the mirror one quiet morning, no cameras, no investors, no contracts left to honor. Only a decision rooted in trust. The marriage certificate was no longer a prop. It was a promise renewed freely. They did not erase the past year. They honored it as the road that led them here. Their story did not end in perfection. It continued in everyday faithfulness. In arguments resolved with humility. In prayers whispered together. In opening their home to foster children years later, offering stability they once pretended to have. The lie that began it all was redeemed by truth, proving that God can use even broken beginnings to build something whole. Before we reach the end, please comment below with the word hope if this story spoke to you. Your words help build a community of kindness and understanding. And if this story moved you, if it stirred something deep inside, please support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your engagement allows more heart-touching stories to be shared, stories that remind us love is not always loud, but it is always powerful.